Hey Coach, it's Coach Simpson. Appreciate you checking out this YouTube channel. One of the things that I have really been diving in the last really 2 or 3 years since I've taken into this wing tee kind of, I guess you can call it cult or whatever you want to call it, but the idea of thinking like these guys that were gurus in the wing tee was series-based playing, which I thought was something they do phenomenally, but also the idea of an if-then mindset. Which they use a lot with how they build their whole structure. But you'll see this same if-then mindset in guys that are running RPOs or spread, and so it's kind of, it can be used in in my mind, you can use it in anything. But as far as football is concerned, using the idea of asking all the potential questions and then building out a structure that's going to fit that is very much how a lot of very successful coaches, I think, work. I mean, you watch very recently, Buffalo Bills, New England Patriots playing in a blizzard, and New England had a great game plan that was already ready. If we're playing in the coldest game on the planet with 100-mile-per-hour winds, then this is kind of our game plan that we're going to have ready for that moment. If you play in New England, probably getting 2 or 3 of those a year. You know, if you are in a different area, then you're going to build perhaps a different type of team. And so to me, it's not just a X and O mindset, but rather it's a way of working on problems before they happen. I'll be working on an offensive coordinator academy that's going to be coming out in January that I'm really, really excited about. But one of the sessions will be over this. And one of the big parts about that is when you deal with your personnel and talking about how to structure personnel differently, kind of using the if-then mindset. So let's kind of come over here. If your quarterback can do X skills right, and this is something you fill in, you know, nobody can tell it to you, but let's say if our quarterback is a better runner than perhaps a passer, which is kind of what we had this year in our offense, then we're going to add in multiple QB run RPOs. Flavors of it, it needs to already be in our system, but we're going to build that in, or perhaps we're going to run empty. Then we're going to run play action. Then we're going to run rollouts. You know, then we're going to cut down on our drop back game. So it's that if our quarterback is X, then blank, blank, blank. Same thing, you could flip the tables. If our quarterback is a great pocket passer, then, you know, we need to make sure we're working a much better protection scheme and we're repping it a lot more often than we would if he was a runner. And we may run different types of routes or may work them more often. Again, all this stuff should already probably be in your system, but then we're going to highlight different parts of it. You can carry it on down to running back, receiver, O-line. You know, the last few years at Southside, we have had probably more receiver types that play running back. And so if your running back is more of a kind of scat back type back, then, you know, we may highlight empty. We may use him in the passing game. We may work on getting him the ball on the perimeter more often. You know, if he's a kind of a workhorse traditional running back, you know, then we're going to work a different scheme that kind of fits with that. Same thing can go to receivers. You may say if our receivers are struggling getting off the line, then we're going to work a lot of motion, stack formations, bunch formations to kind of give them a free release. Or if our receivers are some of our best players, then of course you're going to build in passes to them, but you may want to work jet sweep where they touch the ball or screens or whatever it may be. The idea just using this if-then system. Okay, if our offensive line is, let's say they're small, then we may work a lot of pin and pulls. We may work cut blocks. We may work whatever you feel benefits you. I can speak for my offense, but really the mindset for me in this kind of video and the idea on that offensive coordinator academy is this needs to be tailored to you. But if you look at your personnel through this mindset, it's going to help you build a much better structure for what you're going to do. In my opinion, you shouldn't be running a brand new offensive system every year. It's not good for the program. You need to have a set structure system, but within the system, it ought to be able to handle all of those if-then questions. If you're coming back to the drawing board and saying, we have a good quarterback, we're going to go spread, and then the next year we don't have a good quarterback, now we're going to run whatever, okay, that's not going to go well for you long term. Your system needs to fit that. Okay, it needs to be a system, but it definitely needs to take in consideration your personnel. And we're high school coaches, most of us, or maybe youth or whatever we are, unless you're a collegiate coach or you're coaching at some school is going to let you cherry pick your players, your if-then needs to happen. You need to have prepared all of this stuff, not just for the season, but long term as you're looking at structuring your offense. And again, that academy will be coming out here in January. I have a workbook coming out with it that I think is going to be really cool. It's just kind of a thought process deal. Not my offense, not someone else's offense, but your offense. An opportunity for you to kind of go through the process. And this will be a big process part of it, is looking at if-then. Obviously, in my own materials over at fbcoachsimpson.com, I use this a lot. Defense, offensively, really even program-wise, using the if-then idea of figuring out potential problems on the front end and then answers. Nothing harder than not having a plan and being on the spot and having to come up with something. It usually does not go well. Hope you got something from this video. I appreciate it if you guys have been on this channel. If you subscribe, I'm trying to grow the channel to continue to put out free information for coaches. If you are interested in more in-depth research on this, be looking for that Offensive Coordinator Academy that's coming out, or you can go over to my website. There's several materials over there that you can get, some free, some not very expensive, and nothing's really expensive over there. So if you want to get anything, go to fbcoachsimpson.com or reach out to me. You can comment in the video, or you can just shoot me an email, fbcoachsimpson@gmail.com. Thank you.